And guys, welcome back to Take One. Today's a new episode where we have two directors here, and we're going to have a conversation about film, and then along with the review over the Furiosa film. So with me, I have a recurring guest, director Christian Fink, and a new guest here, director Anthony Caban.
Hello.
Yeah, so guys, I know Christian, you already introduced yourself. Feel free to introduce yourself again if you want to, and it's you as well, Anthony. So tell people a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thank you for having me back again. My name is Christian Fink Arizari. I'm a writer-director currently based in Tampa, Florida. I've been here for about a year, and yeah, happy to be here again.
You already said my full name, but I'll say it again. You know, I'm Anthony Caban. It's very great to be here. I'm a filmmaker. I'm an actor as well, based in Tampa, Florida. I'm just looking to make projects, work with people. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome, because I know you have a film already out, Young at Heart, and you are working on producing your film, Broman.
Broman, but I also am going to have a new film coming to festivals real soon called Broken Flaw of Marriage.
Broken Flaw of Marriage. All right.
And that film it's something.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about that one.
Yeah. Feel free to give us a rundown of it.
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure thing, bro. A Broken Flaw Marriage is essentially about a couple who is going through a weird stage of, what's the word I'm looking for? A possibility of getting divorced. But that's not their goal. We meet our estranged couple, Clark Burton and Greta Burton, who is kind of having some issues. Clark is out there basically doing things, and Greta doesn't know what he's doing, but what the reality is that Clark is a serial killer. He's basically meeting women at bars, sleeping with them, and killing them.
Okay, nice.
And we are stuck on a 2-hour fuck fest with this film. And it's amazing.
No, that's awesome. I really like a lot those interpersonal stories when it's even just a couple people, because if the writing is tight, it doesn't even matter what kind of budget you have. It could be completely magical. What you reminded me of when you said that is something similar to a Marriage Story with was it Scarlett Johansson and
Adam Driver. Yeah.
Phenomenal movie, and that's what it is. It doesn't need a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a lot. Right? Anyone, even someone in a low budget, can do that. So that's interesting. So on the regards of themes, what do you guys usually go for? Do you guys have a certain theme that you usually do for your films?
For A Broken Flaw of Marriage, psychological horror.
Psychological horror.
This is the first movie where we don't take anything as a joke. We take this as a first serious movie, because most of my movies I've made have been attempted to be serious, but then again, you have some of our co-actors who will, use improv, and so do I. Nothing wrong with that. And it kind of turns into a bit of, comedic moments.
Right.
But Broken Flaw of Marriage was the first movie to be actually, very serious.
Right, 100% serious.
And for a budget, like you said, the budget wasn't too bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, we brought in the lead actress who also became an associate producer of the film, Katie Payne. Mm-hmm. And my God, she is amazing at what she does. She is so professional, so kind, so welcome to everyone, that she deeply cares about the film family. She's done projects for OIF in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Right. She's in New York now. But when I worked with, that was the only project that I worked with her on, and her playing Greta Burton is if I can describe the performance, it's without spoiling anything, because the movie is not out yet. Mm-hmm. It's still currently being submitted to festivals.
Right.
It's therapeutic and disturbing towards the third act.
Right.
I will say. But she is on, she's methoding. She's method acting.
Right.
She's on that. She's on point as Greta. And when me and her work together, it's like a real marriage story.
Right. Did she bring something out of the character that you weren't expecting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't say because it's just going to spoil the movie.
No, fair enough. What about you, Christian? Do you have what do you go for themes of your films when you make them?
Well, the way I was taught to approach theme was less about what statement you want to make and more about exploring a question. So whenever I'm coming up with a project, I have like a handful of questions that I want to explore. And I think it was Pete Docter who he created films like Inside Out. I think he was also involved with like Toy Story. Like he was basically like a Pixar mainstay. And I love one of his talks about how he breaks down story, and because the common advice is write what you know. And he kind of had a nice spin on it where it's like write about what you want to know. So that way you're learning along with the audience, and there's that sense of, trying to discover something.
Did you ever do that? That like when you did that, like, did you ever get a point of self-discovery when you realize something about yourself?
Oh, yeah. With every script, there's always a question that I'm just trying to find out for my own satisfaction. And that just makes the piece all the more worthwhile, because at the end of each script, if it's a question that, you're questioning at this point in time, like for me right now, it's, questions of like faith and, where's this all going? Am I meant for this? Stuff like that, like real identity stuff, I guess. But exploring that in a way through the screenplay, I think that's always very therapeutic. And I can confidently say at the end of each script, each draft, I feel like a better person because I took that time to really explore within me that truth and present it in a screenplay. Yeah.
Like writing almost feels like therapeutic in a sense.
100%.
Right. Like you have something?
Yeah. I wanted to add that part because, you asked what are the themes for as if like you're asking for every movie, right?
You as a director, like when you're creating your films, right?
Yeah.
You have like a certain overall theme,
I wanted to answer that part. That's why I forgot to answer that
Go
part.
Go for it.
The overall themes for this film, for all my films, is usually, when it comes to action, it's more about revenge. I like watching a lot of revenge movies like Drive from Ryan Gosling.
Yes, fantastic.
That film spoke to me so much. Like you have a guy wearing a leather jacket,
he is
cruising in the fucking street,
Yeah.
and just listening to vaporwave and just smacking the fuck out of these people with a hammer. And you got the talented Carey Mulligan, the awesome Bryan Cranston, Albert Brooks, who I'm like what from Finding Nemo. I think if he's in that movie,
I think so.
I was like,
the name.
This man went from Finding Nemo to being a fucking villain. I was like, damn, go back to Pixar, man. Stop being so fucking. Oh, Oscar Isaac too is in that movie, and Christina Hendricks, who's I think she's still married to the director of Drive, Nicholas Wilding Refn.
Right.
I love Drive. It spoke to me so much. I saw it pretty late, which I'm pissed because I wish I could have saw it like when it came out.
It came out of theaters. Exactly.
Because I mean, that could have been like my second movie to make me want to make films.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight's the biggest one. It's my favorite film of all time. But awesome. Drive is on that top 10 too because it's amazing.
I love that aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like basically the cinematography and the aesthetic of that's one of my favorite. Like when it comes to that alone, that stands out to me so much. That along with Blade Runner. Like that to me.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I just
absolutely.
love that. You fall in love with that world.
Oh
instantly.
no, Blade Runner also what got me into like making like an action movie. Mm-hmm. So mostly when it comes to action, the theme is not just revenge, but it's also sympathy, empathy, and just break your morals. What I want, like what I like for the characters to be is just be free, but be kind of like offensive and just don't be not offensive, but like because it's more like realistic shit.
Yeah.
Not
being afraid to go there.
Yeah, not being afraid to go there because I want characters to be real, not fake.
Yeah.
I want them to feel like that's how they are in real life. Assholes, bounty hunters, like Last Bounty. Yeah. That's a film I did in 2021. The characters in the film are supposed to be assholes. They're supposed to be like, I don't want to say offensive. I don't know why I said offensive, but.
It's like stereotypical, maybe, right?
Sometimes.
Well, I mean, people in real life just say offensive shit.
Right, but like I understand where he's coming from because like I feel like anytime you write a character, even if it's a character written like in like a generic way, it's us. Our job as actors to find a humanity in it, right? Because like every human being has deep thoughts.
Yeah,
no one is one-dimensional.
I think about Gene Hackman in The French Connection because there was like interviews where they were talking about the usage of the N-word in that movie. There's like a scene in the midpoint of the film, And Gene Hackman, in an interview, he's like, at the time, he's like, yeah, I told the director, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this. And like, he was like, I don't know if I should say this. And I think it was like the director, and I think also the other actor, it was like, that's who the guy is. He's like a hardened New York detective in the 60s. Like, that's
And
just the language of the time.
The movie
Like,
came out in 1971.
exactly.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, in the late 60s, while, yeah, I mean, the Civil Rights Act of 1965 or 66, I think,
I think so, yeah.
once that, came to, approval, yes, they were, it was still, you still had to deal with, a bit
Yeah.
of, like,
Right.
segregation in some places.
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Those attitudes still remain.
So, yeah, those
Oh,
are,
absolutely.
it's just that there were less attitudes coming in.
Exactly.
If
yeah.
I mean, we weren't born in that era, but
No, yeah.
but it does feel like that. It does
Yeah.
feel like I mean, we could learn. We do learn that it does die down a bit, while there's still people who still use that attitude.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, even all the way up to like the 80s, like when my mom was doing real estate, she did it in New York.
Are you from New York?
Yeah, I lived there for a little bit.
What part?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn too.
Hey,
Hey, let's
my
go.
man.
It all depends on like from my accent. It all depends on the words.
Word.
Bay Ridge,
Barrage.
Bay Ridge.
I'm I know. We're going to cut that. Or not. I was Bensonhurst.
Okay.
So, like, no, I was saying, like, in regards to my mom, she did real estate around that time, and she was trying to sell someone who was black to an Irish neighborhood, and they did not take that kindly at all.
Yeah.
Like, death threats, and we're not talking about 1960s. We're talking about the 80s.
Yeah.
Which just shows you, like, sometimes, like, even though we feel like this part of our chapter is done, it's very much going. It's just not told.
100%.
No, that's why I wanted to make a mafia movie so bad. I wanted to explore like the deep nature, like not the deep nature, but I want to make a mafia film. It's just so fucking hard to make a mafia film.
Yeah.
And I wrote like pre-drafts of scripts where the N-word is used because I wanted to make it more about like a racial battle between the mafia versus Black Panthers. I wanted to do something like that.
That's very ambitious.
But it was just for me. I was like, am I comfortable to bring that script to light? And I feel like it's more of a question for myself. If I'm passionate about mafia movies, then I should do it. I shouldn't let anyone tell me what I should or shouldn't do for the film. Because the film I had in mind was very great, but it's just so many changes, so many ideas. It's like I need to find the focus before I finish it, because at one point I'm making a script that's like everything. It's like it's turning into a president movie. It's turning into this. It's turning into that. I'm like, no, I want to have it one focus.
Right. Did you guys ever have a situation where you guys are writing and you guys get stuck in a sense that like you don't know where to go at that point?
100%. I would say like it happens to a lot of scripts. Like besides the mafia movie, which obviously I've had 4 different rewrites, but I never got to the end. The highest I've gotten was like page 60, and I was like, I can't do this. This is too confusing.
Been there.
Yeah, even making like mystery movies. Mystery movies are hard to write because you have to be very proficient at writing who the culprit is, and you don't want to make it sound so
obvious.
obvious, cliche. I mean, what's a film that has done it perfectly? I can name 3 movies. Knives Out
Knives Out did a really good job.
did a really good job of solving it,
Yes.
even though I was like, I had a 20% chance that Chris Evans was the culprit, his character. Zodiac. That's a film that does a fantastic job. And then the third one, I'll throw it in there because it's Fincher. 7.
I was gonna,
Seven is
Seven
really
was
good.
like
Yeah.
Seven.
first- that was like in my head this entire time.
7 basically had the first act entirely on solving the killing, and then the second act you get to meet the killer.
Yeah.
And it's what's in the box, and that's the perfect way to end it.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's just one of those things that like when you're creating something like that, you have to give some breadcrumbs so that way there is clues to it. But if you give too much, then it's instantly noticeable, and that pretty much makes the movie collapse
Yeah.
at that point. Like when you do something like that,
Yeah.
like it's very much it needs very tight writing, and it needs to know subtlety really well.
Oh yeah, but it takes multiple drafts to get there. I remember for my first feature, before the first draft, there was probably about I would say like 5 to 9 failed drafts. Like one draft was like I got to page 15. The next draft I got to page 33. The next draft I got to page like 53. And it's like it kept hitting roadblocks, but you just power through. And then it's like, oh, I finally have a first draft after like 300 pages of like failed drafts before that. You know, just like when it's all added up, it's.
Do you guys experience burnout with that sort of thing? Like, do you get like frustrated with a script that you're like, you know what, I'm gonna put this aside, or you know what, forget this script?
I don't. There's definitely times where it's like, okay, I'm not ready to tell this story yet. And that was another experience I had with my first feature script, Trapped, because that was more. Sorry, that was more of like an erotic thriller. It was basically American Psycho in the suburbs. And at the time when I wrote it, I was just leaving film school. I felt very creatively restricted at my school. And I was having just difficulty trying to make the films that I want to make. And so a lot of that frustration came out in the script. And it made it very angsty. Made it very edgy, which I think worked for what the subject matter was. But we graduated film school. We had shot for 7 days, and we had to cancel on day 7 because our lead actor's back gave out. And, you know, we're not going to make him.
Right, of course.
We got 11 days left.
That's what happened during A Broken Flaw Marriage with the last one. We had a
Really?
Not the actress that finished the movie, but we started filming in August, and we had the original actress, and she backed out a month and a half.
Gotcha. And that's such. It's such a.
When a big thing like a lead actor, that must be very frustrating.
I was angry.
Yeah.
I was so angry, and this was right after the hurricane blew over. I mean, to go so far. Well, we haven't gotten to the big scenes. This was before we were about to shoot like the big scenes, the house and everything. It was painful. It was pretty painful. And then we found an actress within like 5 hours. We got a lead.
Nice.
That was Katie Payne. And then I told her all the dates, and she was like, yep. I was like, it's good. Lock her in. Let's do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then and then the other girl messages me with an apology, but I was like, you know, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens with life, you know.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes life gets in the way.
Yeah, it really does happen, and it's always a tough pill to swallow when it's happening. But then it takes time to be like reflect on it and be like, no, that was actually for the best, because you know you can't really judge it until it's all said and done.
Right.
And to like keep going for about like burnout and everything, when he had a drop due to his back. That was definitely a tough pill to swallow. But then I revisited the script about like a year and a half later, and I read it again with like fresh eyes, and I'm like, oh, okay, like this. And I rewrote it, and the rewrite felt a lot better. Because,
You just need to be in the right mind frame, right?
yeah, and I was trying to tell a story, I just was not emotionally mature enough to really tackle yet. And then that year and a half, that I went through a lot in that year and a half, and so yeah, that approach definitely breathed a lot of new life into it, and I love the rewrite. The rewrite is more of what I wanted the film to be than when I first wrote those initial drafts, and sometimes it just takes time.
Yeah, I always recommend when like someone has a script, but you know they get frustrated with it, to always keep it and put it aside. Because the worst thing I see is someone like delete it. Because I've heard stories of people deleting this stuff, and I'm
Never
like,
delete.
Because like I'm saying to myself, like you have no idea what you can build up on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it might not be right. It might not even be your like story to tell, but maybe bring somebody else to help you in anything. But to me, like deleting it, that's the worst thing you can do.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, this one, speaking of deleted, the worst thing that ever happened, and this is like during Junior Squad, we went to the Ybor City alley, right, to shoot I sent you the movie, right?
Yes.
Okay, did you see it?
Yes.
I would like a link.
Okay, you will get a link too. You know that scene where the whole alley thing towards an hour, where you've seen that whole like protest, but really it's just a bunch of people running around Ybor City. I wanted to have more people, but I didn't want to like cause a big scene to the point where all of us could get arrested or get a ticket.
Okay.
So that's why it's like you see like very different people. But if Ybor City was like a dead end, like a ghost town, I would have brought in like a fuck ton of people.
Oh, right.
So in that scene, we this was like beginning of June. We had 2 cameramen to record these 2 scenes because we wanted to speed up time and everything. As soon as I got the footages from the first one, because obviously one of them was on my camera, I asked the other guy, did you get the footages? And he was like, I accidentally deleted them. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, no.
I was angry.
Oh no!
I was angry. I was like, how could you do this to me, man? We shot an awesome amount of footages, but we got the good ones. It's just the camera B ones that were deleted. We got about like 5 of them. I got 5 of them back, but we didn't get the good ones, the close-up ones. But he felt so fucking bad, and I was like, I was angry because I was like, I don't want to like have them, take their time to go out again and do it again. But luckily, we got like 3 of the actresses and the child actresses to come out and do those scenes again. And it was a lot. We made it up, came back together and did the day, and those footages came out good too. But I was like, damn, man. I could have saved time.
Stomach drops. I get it. I've been there.
Yeah. Oh, it's happened. Like, it has happened. Like, in the past, like, very rare do you ever have those footages that you're so proud of and it's gone.
Yeah.
The worst one being when I started my first movie about 10 years ago. We shot, well, this is my first amateur movie with my friends. We had all the zombie footages of us because we didn't know how to bring extras. So so me and my 2 pals, we were playing the main characters and we were playing zombies. And we put ketchup on ourselves. And then we had all these, cool footages, and then someone broke into the house and took the laptop containing all the files.
Oh my god!
And we have about half of them, but my shit was taken. And it had a complete movie. So I had to spend another sophomore year failing school just to finish my first movie.
Shit. No, that's brutal. That must have, your heart must have kind of dropped too when that happened.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just even the idea of someone breaking into your house. That to me is already like.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like you feel violated in that certain sense.
Yeah, my first day of school, I came back ready to edit my first movie, and then house was broken into.
Shit.
That pissed me off so much.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens a lot in Savannah too. That happened to a lot of kids. Like they would, like DPs, they would have cars full of equipment, like leave it parked in a parking lot, like for just a few hours. Come back, windows are broken, equipment's gone.
Shit. And you break, and I think it's like it's not like you're robbing people with a lot of money. You're robbing people who just have a dream.
For
at
real.
the end of the day. I know both of you guys were both did acting as well, like
Yes.
in a lot of productions. So since you guys have both of those experiences, do you guys prefer to be in front of the camera or behind the camera?
Behind.
Behind.
I prefer both. I love directing so much because when I have a story to tell, I like to bring it. But I also want to do things where I like to also potentially produce and co-write, and then just hopefully one day I was like I could talk with someone, we could work together on a script, I can co-produce it, star in it, and then let someone direct it.
Right.
I like to do something like that because I feel like when you're directing too much and acting at the same time, I feel like, you should let someone do the directing.
Yeah.
And then you can co-produce it with the director if the director decides to produce the movie too.
Yeah, because acting and directing simultaneously, that is such a heavy workload.
Yeah.
Do you feel like acting just kind of affected your directing? Like it changed how you view directing, or did it have any impact on it?
Well, I know when I was a kid, because I originally wanted to be an actor. That was like the dream growing up. And then when my mom got me a camera in high school, then that's when that started to shift. But that performing bug still always kind of remained. And I still act every now and then for like friends or whatever. I'll be like a bit role. I recently just did like a lead role for a friend for a 38-page script called Godspeed. Played a bodyguard, Trent Stone.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
It's like Die Hard meets Thank You for Smoking meets Airplane.
Nice.
Yeah, it was.
I love all those
It was a
movies.
blast. But doing that, I'm like, okay, I like acting, but I'm not an actor,
Right.
if that makes sense. But doing that, it's like, okay, I know I can talk to actors and I understand what they must at least be feeling to some degree, being in front of the camera, in front of all these people, having to do these like crazy things that I'm asking you to do. So it's like, it's like I can understand and empathize and, be there with you in that moment, but also still have that, mentality of like, okay, I can communicate with the technical crew too, because I'm a cinematographer a lot. So it's like having that understanding of what it takes on both sides of the camera definitely improves your directing 100%.
Side note, thank you for smoking. Super underrated.
Super
underrated. I
haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it? Oh, I
Dude,
highly recommend it.
Great.
I like Jason Reitman.
Yeah.
If you got a significant other, great date night movie,
Yeah.
100%.
What about you, Anthony? Do you feel like acting affected your directing in any way?
Yes and no. It's gonna feel a little emotional saying this because I'm in. Fuck it, I'll say it. I've wanted to be an actor most of my life, but also would love to direct movies if after I've already reached my peak in the acting world. Like where like, hey, you catch your break, you're out there, you win an Oscar for Best Actor, and that's it. You could be a director. But I also thought that hey, anyone could start at an age. There's no deadline or rules that dictate what age you have to be to make movies. You can direct movies at any age you want. However, you're gonna have to learn a lot of things the hard route. Because movies aren't gonna. You're not gonna be perfect in one day. You're not gonna make a perfect movie in one day. You got to start small and work your way up to the top. So, your first movie, my mom got me a camcorder from a furniture store called Aaron's, and I used that camcorder and I just shot what I wanted to do with it. I was shooting, cool stuff with it, like the first movie I did, and then I used my phone for it at the same time. I'm never shooting on my phone ever again. Then I used my my old camcorder again to shoot a movie, and I got a tripod, and then that was it. That's how I was doing. Like my first couple projects, I was at during high school, all I was doing was setting up a little camcorder and a tripod, and then then senior year, I got my my first DSLR camera, but it didn't come with an audio, so I had to learn it the hard route.
What was the camera model?
Canon T5 Rebel I think it was.
Canon Rebel T6S.
Nice, bro.
I think I had a camera like that too. I had a Canon Rebel. I couldn't tell you the model number, but I did. That was one of my first cameras, though.
My dad got it.
Can't go wrong with a Rebel.
My dad got it for me, which was amazing. And then that's when I shot the first Junior Squad movie on. I was shooting it on a Samsung camcorder, a GoPro Hero 4, and then the Canon for the ending of the film for some scenes. But at the time, I didn't know shit about Adobe Premiere Pro. I knew Vegas Pro because that's how I was editing the Junior Squad on. We shot that one in 2014 to 2015. That's when I've started shutting down the Windows Movie Maker and going straight into Vegas Pro. Yeah. But before Vegas Pro in the 2016 era, I was doing Windows Movie Maker, and it was horrible. The files would disappear once in a while. It's a shitty software.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know anything about, audio. I didn't know anything about, dolly tracks or anything like that. I just thought that cameras are cameras, You use a camera, use a tripod, and that's it.
Right.
And then you have a little slate. We did add a slate, too. Wrong. You got to have more equipment. But I've learned over time. But acting is something I really want to do because I love doing something that is fun and surreal, playing characters that you're really not, and disappearing yourself into that person, which is why I wanted to direct and act so that I can show the people that hey, every movie that you've seen from me from my reel is just basically me, but I'm directing it. But don't focus on the directing, focus on the acting. But then I was like, kind of want to relax from directing and then just focus on acting because I feel like if you work with other people, by playing roles, it'll get you a better reel. You know, you have a better chance of getting yourself out there. And I did from time to time. Now, like, since, like, it's been difficult to get roles now.
Right.
I've been having a hard time booking roles because, I mean, some people just don't like me, man.
I mean, and that's the struggle, sometimes, like, even people like, then there was a conversation, I forgot who it was. I believe it was Forrest Whitaker that he said, like, sometimes he would get a lot of gigs. Sometimes he would go, like, a whole year without one.
Yeah.
Interesting that you said that, because I know you said for Broman, you're directing and you're also acting on that as well.
Yeah.
And you even launched a successful, like, marketing campaign to get people in there. Like, one thing, because we're all artists here, but we got to remember also that when we're making these things, we have to also be businessmen as well. That's something that's really attached to it. So what do you guys go by in marketing stances, your thoughts on it and all? Like, what do you guys go through your process?
Yeah, I was about to say, because, like, when it comes to marketing,
I mean, I can go first. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when I started making movies, I never had the ability to, ask someone for money. I would usually just ask my mom to help me with it because I didn't have a job. I had no job when I was making these movies. When I was making about, like, movies with my friends, I never had, like, my own, like, money. Like, I would have, I mean, I had Social Security money, and I used that to make my movie. Because, I mean, I have a disability.
Gotcha.
I have Asperger's.
Right.
So I would use that, and my mom would help me get some things. I mean, but we didn't work with a lot of new people at the time. This was when I was still having my friends from the neighborhood. We would all get together. And then it became more difficult when my dad passed away in 2017. So I was like, even my dad was helping me with a little bit of funds for my movie. After that, I feel like, you know what? I'm going to make more personal movies. Like, I made a film in 2017 called Stigma about a man who's dying of HIV. My dad did not have HIV. It's just that I introduced him to a friend who had HIV. And he had a really good connection with them. And the guy's still alive, thankfully. And I wanted to take that, and I just wanted to take it loosely based on that. That, finding a friend or whatever. And it was dedicated to, my dad, because, my dad and I we actually had ideas about writing that film together. So he had some ideas for that film, and I decided to just dedicate it to him. And then I made a film about someone who's losing his wife to cancer, and he has to find a way to move on, which that's a film I directed and acted in, Visions of Love. I did it with my own budget.
Right.
And then after that, I did Hell's Gift, and then I did all the budget was on me. But then as I progressed, I mean, I was like, I gotta get a job to make more movies, and then hopefully do co-funding. And the first film that I had co-funding for was Survive the Apocalypse.
Right.
And for my first time funding that film, it was not a big success. We did at the time we raised a total of $2,155, so about $2,155. But I had my mom take over the funny thing, and we could have done better with it because we didn't get a chance to. We've lost half of it because we used the wrong bank number.
Shit.
But we managed to get half of it back, which was. It struggled me because I was like, I could have got everything. I could have got costumes and everything.
Yeah.
But I've learned a lot from that, and I've decided I'm just gonna fund my own movies back to the way it was. And then I was like, the more creativity you're making, the more expensive it's gonna get.
Right.
And A Broken Flawed Marriage, the budget for that one, I never wanted to do a GoFundMe for that one or any of my films. So I was like, you know what? I'm starting my job. My mom's helping me out, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. So I was like, I can take advantage. I have like $700 saved up from because I wanted to get a PS5. So I So I was like, I'll take advantage of that and just spend it on the movie, you know?
I mean, that's the thing too, because like you have to get a bunch of people to believe in your vision.
Yeah.
Even though you might not have anything right now.
Yeah.
Like you just show them like promotional shots and stuff, and then a lot of it, and let's be honest, it's self-funded as well. And there's nothing worse than like when you have that kind of funding, but it's like, oh, I just need more. Because this didn't go through. Like, did you ever have an experience like that, Christian, where like, in regards of funding, like, do you feel like you had this movie planned out and you had a particular budget, but like it went over?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm feeling a yes right now.
100%.
Yeah.
I think you and I could both agree.
Well, for me, it's more like we got no funding, and whatever we did ask for was just a flat no. Like, I think the only successful, we did a Seed and Spark campaign. Seed and Spark is like a crowdfunding site, but it's geared specifically for filmmakers. So you just see like nothing else but other films on that site. So it is a good resource for other filmmakers out there. But we only ever had like one successful campaign on there, and that was for my senior thesis. But we were also, for my senior thesis, we were only asking for like $3,000. And I put in 500, and my producer, I think, also put in some of his own funds as well. Because you got to show people that you're serious about it. Right. It's like, I'm still putting my money into it. But yeah, like everything else has been, I mean, with Young at Heart, it was like a quick one-day thing. It's like, can you guys just spare me a few hours, and I promise you will have like an amazing film come out of this.
Can I be in your next movie, man?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Wait, did you respond to the casting call for Why Now?
Which one's that one?
It was posted on Facebook like a few days ago. I think I saw you comment.
D'Angelo?
Danielle, yeah.
Yeah. I'm submitting it tonight.
Oh, word.
Writer director.
I didn't know that. Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought D'Angelo was directing that one. I honestly thought that.
No, I'm directing.
Oh man, dude, I'm definitely gonna.
Hell yeah, I'm excited for that
right.
script too. That's because I submitted that script to the Austin Screenplay Competition because that was like the first screenplay that I wrote where it was like, oh, I can write, I can do this, and I'm working on my fourth one now. But yeah, like in terms of marketing, to me that is such a different world because maybe it was how I was raised. I don't know. Like I'm not the guy to be like, no, hire me instead because I'm better than. Like I don't have that in me. Mm-hmm. That's why I need it from other people to like kind of like go to bat. But yeah, for me, I'm really more in favor of like kind of like grassroots marketing movements. Like I think I did a report on this in college. The marketing strategy behind Napoleon Dynamite. Mm-hmm. To me, that would be the way to go because John Hader was talking about it in an interview, and he's like, the marketing strategy behind Napoleon Dynamite was purposely to market it as a movie about small town America made by people from small town America. And John Hader was talking about it, and their idea was to create a cult classic in real time. Because and that favors very strong word of mouth, doing selective screenings in particular areas, things like that. But it worked.
That was a huge overnight success.
Yeah. But like everyone who watched it felt like they were discovering it for themselves, even though the movie like just came out. Mm-hmm. It felt like they were watching a movie that they found like in their dad's collection one day or something. And for me, I would love. I don't know how grassroots like marketing looks in 2024. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it would probably be more like TikTok trends and stuff like that. But that would be like my preferred marketing method. I'm a big grassroots word of mouth kind of guy.
Word.
Yeah. I want the project to be known, based on its own merit rather than like from visionary director,
Yeah. Like. So the thing. So back to like the funny thing. I mean, the funding thing is like when I made A Broken Flawed Marriage. My associate producer helped out, got an Airbnb. She spent her, I think her insurance or something like that to get an ACC building, and then I took care of half of the stuff, and then we did everything. Like the only thing I had to pay was the arcade for filming, SFX artists, and then provide food for everyone, because it's always like a budget restraints. You got to work with what you have. I don't want to say that it's paid, but it's really not. I don't want to make that promise because I hate making promises that I don't think I'll be able to keep, and I just do what I have to do.
Yeah.
Right.
It's it's an experience and all that, but Broman is, and then the other 3 Junior Squad movies, those were just for the fun of it. They weren't really supposed to be like a big professional movie. It was just supposed to be for the fun of it, but we wanted to bring in actors because, I can't fulfill the Junior Squad trilogy without the actors,
Right.
Broman is, to that one, the budget for that one, it's like we're trying to get to at least $3K.
Okay.
And the budget for that one it's solid. This time I have my own account, so everything is going to my credit card. So thankfully, after learning the first disaster, this one, I've learned a lot from that, and I'm so glad that I was able to opening a savings so I could put all that funding into that account, and I was able to get some equipment and also. See, I have enough to make the film.
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap it up today. Guys, thank you so much for you guys coming up. Feel free to put out your plugs right now.
But no, feel free to follow me on Instagram. It's _nutcase01. I'm working on, trying to post a bit more. But I am going to be having my most recent short film starring Gio and another amazing actor, Alex Betteron, and Michael Dean. That's going to be on Vimeo and YouTube, I would say within the next week or two. I'm still kind of nailing down if I should release it on a Friday or Saturday. Mm-hmm. But that'll be coming out. And I will also be doing a director's commentary on that maybe a few weeks later. So some good content coming out.
I have Broman that's starting to shoot in 2 weeks, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. That's going to be a fun feature superhero film to make. I can't wait to work with Christian here. You're only there for very little days.
I know, yeah, 3 days.
And I have you in the movie too,
sir,
as one of the mercenaries for the 30th. And then and then after that, I'm taking a break from filmmaking because I want to relax.
Where would they find you, Anthony?
Find me at Instagram, vintage_Caban.
All right.
And then TikTok. Same username.
Nutcase Films on TikTok as well.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for showing up.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me again.